Have you ever tried to make a short film? Did it suck? Was it a piece of shit like mine? Hi, I'm Luis Ramirez, and this is my series,
My Short Film Sucks, Here's Why.
where I go over my previous work, go through the highs, the lows, and all the lessons that I made making the short film.
Are you ready?
Okay, so in this video, I'm going to go through many mistakes that I made in all 4 categories of production in my film Apartment 87. I'm going to go through concept and story challenges, pre-production, production, and post-production. Let's hop into a time machine and go back in time 5 years when I wrote, directed, shot, started, and edited my first short film, Apartment 87. Apartment 87 was about 2 best friends that just got their first apartment. Their names are Luke and Brian. Luke and Brian get their first apartment and they're potheads. They smoke a lot of weed. Brian has a cat. Cat named Spooky. Cat goes missing. When the movie starts, Luke and Brian go looking for the cat. They can't find it. Brian is depressed. He's anxious. He's hysterical. He can't do anything. He loves his cat so fucking much. So right around the middle of this fiasco going on, Dre, who's in a wheelchair, that's important, comes into the house and he says, hey, let's drop some acid, let's get high. And they say yes. So the intention of the movie was to make an R-rated stoner comedy coming of age story. They were gonna find the cat, find themselves. The cat was like a metaphor for finding themselves, and then the whole movie was gonna end to a montage of the popular song My Hitta, My Hitta. I thought I had such a revolutionary idea. I didn't. But the college that I was going to was smack dab in bumfuck country, Oklahoma. So most of the students that I was going to school with, they refused to help me because they weren't comfortable making a movie or being part of making a movie that had to do with drugs. They were too conservative. They were too religious. Even though Oklahoma has so much fucking crystal meth, there's so much meth and crack in Oklahoma. You look it up. Go to Google, go to Lawton, type in Lawton, Oklahoma meth, and you just meth. So I asked some coworkers from my weekend job at Red Lobster. We were all servers, and they agreed. So now I had my people. I had some little bit of equipment that I had. The movie was about to start. However, I did not account for the fact that, like myself, these people had no real legitimate experience filming. Not acting, not shooting, not running audio, nothing. I had no shot list, I had no storyboard, I barely even had a script. The entire closing act of my film was improvised. We just made it up as we went. Having no real pre-production work done besides like a barely finished script led me with a few issues. One, I had one-dimensional characters that had no arc. Luke was supposed to realize that he could have been a better friend. Didn't happen. Brian was supposed to realize that he was on a path towards becoming a down spiraling loser. Didn't happen. The only one that got a decent arc was Dre. Dre's arc was supposed to be him overcoming his hatred towards his wheelchair because he resented the fact that he couldn't walk anymore. So Dre was the only one that had a sort of character arc, and even then his was kind of half-assed too. All of my character story arcs felt rushed, half-assed, incomplete. You can't even really feel that there's a story arc. Like, it's not very it's not articulated very well throughout the story. So really it just feels like a bunch of dudes getting high and looking for a cat. Point of the story is, for pre-production, I didn't have any shot list, I didn't have a storyboard, I didn't have a finished script, I had no real preparation. Never go with the first draft of your script. I was arrogant. I went with the first draft. I thought, man, this is so fucking good. This is the best script ever written. It was not. It was trash, and you can see it throughout the movie. It could have been better. Pre-production is the most important part of your film. Having nothing prepared caused me to have to make things up on the fly, and you can see it. And so whenever you're shooting, you're gonna have a fuck ton of headaches, no matter what. But you minimize the amount and the intensity of those headaches if you have everything prepared. Have a shot list, have a storyboard if you want to, have a finished script, have a production bible where you have everything planned out meticulously. I didn't do that, and I got a really bad short film. Be prepared, because if you're not prepared, you can shoot, but you're gonna have a fuck ton of issues, and you're gonna eat shit when you get to... None of us really had the experience needed to start a short film. They weren't in any film classes, and I was still pretty early in my classes. We shot the first half of the movie in automatic mode, and then later when I progressed in my classes, because this was shot like in a 3-week period every weekend, we shot it in manual. And look at this shit, look at the difference. You see in the first half, the automatic mode, ISO was cranked up, and then the second half, it's manual. It looks a little bit more appealing to the eye. I'm not saying it looks good, but it looks better than the first half. So I had to balance that out in the edit. So this is all building. The lack of preparation plus the lack of experience caused horrible visuals. The composition was terrible. Look at this shot right here. This POV shot looks like shit. This shot right here looks terrible. The camera operating in this shot was awful. And the audio, oh man. The person that I had come do audio for me, by the way, I always feed your people. And so the guy that was working audio for me, he was so bored and got so tired of running audio that eventually he ended up just holding the boom mic wrong because he was so bored of what we were doing. And so he would hold the boom mic like against his chest while we're trying to record scenes, and you could hear fumbling. That was baked into the audio, which was a fucking nightmare to try and fix. That, and he didn't know what to look for because I didn't tell him, because I didn't know really. He didn't know what to look for when taking audio. So when you take audio, you have to listen for fans, you have to listen for the fridge, any outside noise, any echoing. You listen for things that might get baked into the audio, and then later you have to fix them in post. The audio had so many issues. It had echoing, it had fans, it had a fridge. You can even hear birds in the background, and I didn't know how to fix it. I tried to denoise and dehum it, and it just wasn't working for me. And so we had all these issues that built up throughout the production. And if you think you had listen to me, come here. If you think you had a hard time shooting your movie, oh, it's gonna suck shit when you get to post production. You gotta understand, at the time, I still thought this was gonna be like a big success. I thought that this short film, even though it had all these flaws and issues and mistakes, I thought it was gonna be adored, be a critical darling, an indie darling. I thought I was gonna break through to Hollywood. I thought I was gonna get endorsements, Bugattis. I thought I was gonna get money. I thought I was already planning my toxic way to break up JC and Beyonce, because that's my crush is Beyonce. And I was gonna break in. I thought that I was sitting on the next Superbad. That now saying it out loud sounds so fucking delusional, but I did. That's the truth. So I sat down, I opened my MacBook Pro 2012, I popped in the SD card, I looked at the footage, and it was horrible. It was really bad. Besides this, I had only made a handful of things that were for school. PSAs, how to tie my shoe videos, news stories for the school news, shit like that. So the issues that I was encountering on this movie, they were so fucking beyond the itsy-bitsy little skills that I had accrued throughout my few semesters in school. I didn't know how to fix them. I didn't log my footage because I was so excited to just edit my movie that I threw everything in the timeline without logging it, without organizing it. It was just a mess. I was cutting everything on the timeline, which is a very amateurish beginner way to do that, which led me to always being fucking confused when I was looking through my footage. Things I was proud of, I wrote it down on a list. Dre's intro, I'm going to show these things while I talk about him. Dre's intro, I liked his intro. Dre's scene was always amusing to me. I liked the character of Dre. I liked the whole aspect with the wheelchair. I liked him keeping joints and acid and drugs in his phone and his fucking pants. That to me, I know it's offensive. Listen, don't cancel me. I know it's offensive. I wrote it thinking it was an R-rated comedy that was going to be like one of those 2000s films. I know it's offensive. I still thought it was funny. I still think it's kind of funny now. When I first started this project, I bit off more than I could chew, 100%. I was arrogant and I wasn't willing to accept any reality that wasn't the reality where I made this thing that was better than anybody's. It wasn't. It was not a good film at all, and I'm now finally admitting that out loud. In conclusion, always be prepared. Write your script. Don't go with the first draft. Rewrite it, make sure it's nice and polished. Have storyboards, shot list. Prepare everything for the shoot. Have a table read with your actors. I didn't do that. I should have. Make sure your actors know the general vibe of the story and they know their characters. If you're working with non-actors like I was, this goes back to pre-production, but manage your time. I made my friends redo scenes over and over and over because I didn't like the takes, because I didn't know what I was doing, which means I was going with my gut, but my gut had no preparation. So manage your time. Have everything planned out, scheduled out, so every single second of your shoot is going to a moment that was necessary. You don't want to spend 2 or 3 hours working on one scene when you could have done it in an hour. Know your equipment. Make sure you know how to work your camera. Make sure you know how to set exposure, how to bring the ISO up and down. What makes a balanced image? Composition. Composition. Make sure you know how to follow the rule of thirds. How to make sure an image is properly composed. That's the thing. Make sure the person running audio for you knows how to do audio. Make sure they know how to work the audio recorder. Make sure they know how to hold the boom pole if you're using one. Know your fucking equipment. It'll save you a heartache. Be willing to accept growth. When I first made this film, I was so fucking defeated and sad by the outcome. I felt insecure. I was like, why am I even doing this? I felt like I should have switched my majors, and I had this crisis where I was like, if I don't get to do film, I'm gonna kill myself. That's crazy. Accept growth. I made mistakes. I wasn't prepared. I didn't know my equipment. I worked with people who weren't as dedicated or interested as I was. So I learned from that. And that helped in my next short film, which I'm going to break down as well. That one had a lot of mistakes as well, but I grew from that one too. I learned my equipment because I was shooting on different cameras. The point is, accept your growth. Learn your growth. Grow as a person. Take an L. Absorb its nutrition and keep fucking going, because you can do it. You bad bitch, you sexy little. Collaborate and communicate. Work with people who improve you. Work with people who bring more tools to your toolkit so you can be a better filmmaker, a better person, a better creative. I could have done that in a million different ways for this movie. I could have communicated my vision better. I could have communicated with them on a table read, so we could have read the script together and everybody would have known what my expectations were and what their expectations were as well. I could have made the process way less stressful if I communicated and collaborated. Listen. Come here. Filmmaking, it's a journey. And you learn about yourself as you learn your craft. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Like the video, subscribe, hit that little fucking bell on the head so next time I post you see my beautiful face. And also, comment below. Tell me your horror stories making your own short films or content. I'm Luis with Channel 3.